Hello friends, welcome to the daily answer writing challenge. Guys, today's question is critically examine India's industrial policy after independence. Guys, this question I have framed from today's The Hindu editorial, which basically talks about a different development paradigm needed in India at present. So, guys, how should we approach this question? First of all, we have to understand the demand of the question. If you see here, the directive is critically examine India's industrial policy after independence. So, first of all, we have to exactly tell what was the industrial policy. Okay, so structure will be such like you have to talk about okay what was the industrial policy. So industrial policy after the major industrial policy after the independence was the industrial policy of 1956. Okay, talk about its salient features. Okay, and then since it says critically examine, you have to basically focus more on the positive and also the negative sides of the industrial policy. So the second part will be okay positives or achievements of the industrial policy 1956, and the next will be the negatives of or the failures of the industrial policy 1956. Okay, so you can see here, okay, in the introduction you will introduce to the industrial policy of 1956 with its salient features, and then you will have two subheadings: achievements of industrial policy 1956 and failures of industrial policy 1956. Okay, so let me just try. Okay, so we can say that okay, when India got independent, you can give some context. When India got independence, it was an underdeveloped and technologically backward, or in technologically and industrially backward country. Okay, in this context, industrial policy of 1956 was introduced with an aim of rapid economic development. Okay, so what was the aim of industrial policy in 1956? It was rapid economic development. And why we need a rapid economic development? Because of the backwardness which was there because of the colonial rule. Okay, then you will talk about the salient features of the industrial policy 1956. This you can draw a diagram also, industrial policy 1956. Okay, so you can see here the focus was on rapid industrialization, then PSU led, public sector unit led, then the focus was on capital goods, and then you can see here it was based on import substitution, and also one of the major elements of the industrial policy was industrial licensing. Okay, so this was the significant features of the industrial policy. Then the question says what were the achievements. So we will critically examine. So we will write achievements of industrial policy. We'll write 1, 2, 3, like 3, 4 points we'll write, and then we'll write failures of industrial policy 1956. What was the achievement, guys? First of all, it laid the foundation. Of industrialization. Yeah, it built industrial infrastructure, structure. Okay, it built the industrial infrastructure which was very needed, and it helped to increase the capital formation. Capital formation, which is important for industrial growth. All the positives you will write here. Okay, next, okay, failures. What are the failures? The first failure was, guys, ignored it ignored labor intensive industry. Thus problem of unemployment persisted. Second, because of the first problem, inequality persisted, and some say that inequality increased because of the industrial policy. Okay, because of the ignorance of industrial development in the labor intensive sector. Okay, third was private sector was discriminated because of industrial licensing. Okay, fourth was inefficient PSU and PSUs. So the PSUs were not very efficient. There are various problems in the PSU sector. Okay, this here one of the positive point you can talk about the PSUs also. It led like the entire PSU which we have, which is the core of the Indian industry, was laid down during this industrial policy only. Okay, but it had its own problems like labor problems, inefficiencies. Okay, and fifth was ignorance of exports. We went for a closed economy, we completely ignored exports. That was one of the major flaw of this policy. Okay, so we have written 4 points positive, 4 points negative, and then we can give conclusion that the industrial policy of 1991 corrected the major flaws, and we stopped the industrial licensing like that. But still we are seeing that industry is not picking up. We still have to focus on labor intensive industrialization. Okay, so this is the conclusion we can write. So thank you guys, bye bye, take care.